How's it going, everyone? This is Jason Navarro. You're listening to Tongues Out Podcast. And let's just jump into a short one today. Oh, man, this Saturday has been one of the most blurred days I've had in a while, where essentially that's not true. The last couple of weeks have been insane for personal reasons. And this is touching again on a subject where I can't really be elaborative on what it is that I'm going through at the moment, but all I can say is that it has been super challenging. I empathize with people out there that are going through the same thing that our family's going through at the moment. Has nothing to do with financials or COVID, both of which we're doing completely fine in those two things that is impacting a ton of people out there, and a lot of people are struggling because of those two things. But that's not our story. But while we're going through, or while the whole world is going through these issues at the moment, we've been caught up in our own family difficulties to cope with, and everything has been a blessing. Everything has been super amazing, and one day I'll be able to kind of be a little bit more elaborative on what this is. But man, I honestly don't know. I've been put in a lot of positions in life where I've had to overcome obstacles that I thought were insurmountable, that it was impossible to overcome. And I've been able to do that in life. Many times not, many times I have failed. And in these situations, I wish I had the ability to solve the issues that I'm going through at the moment, but I can't. It's outside my control, and because of that, that's what makes this so much more difficult and stressful. But and moments like these make me reflect on how I'm not a religious individual, and how even though I was raised that way when I was a kid, because I'm Hispanic, and Catholicism is the predominant religion for most Latin American, pretty much any country that has a history from Spain, the Philippines, South America, outside of Brazil, and a lot of different parts of the world. I mean, it's the largest religion in the world. Are Catholic, but I was raised that way. But as I got older, I lost faith. I do not believe in the deities and the gods that are described in the popular novelizations of different religions. Do I think that there's a higher entity or entities that have created this world around us? Yes. I did an earlier podcast on my thoughts on where all of this is, comes from. That was actually one of my old podcasts. It's crazy to think that I'm almost halfway through a whole year of doing these, and I still make mistakes, because I just found out in the last week that all my YouTube videos that I was uploading this past week, none of them had their audio in there. So I would see the visuals, but I assumed, because I could hear the audio in my podcast for my audio listeners, that the audio in my videos was going to be fine. All I had to do was make sure that the video looked good, and they did, but I never listened to each individual video as well. And I regret not doing so, because for whatever reason, the program that I use for recording my video content just chose to not record my mics. So all those videos that we're uploading had no audio, and I just haven't been paying attention to comments and everything of that nature because I've just been going through a lot. And um yeah, anyways, going back to the conversation about religion, I get caught up sometimes in these moments where I feel like if there is um higher entities out there that are choosing to punish those for not being believers in them, I think um it's very childish, and makes me not want to be a believer in those gods anyways. But on the other hand, I feel like if I were to become a believer and pray uh in certain difficult situations, that it would probably I get this, and I'm a very analytical person. I'm not spiritual. I don't consider myself spiritual. The moment I gave up on religion, I kind of gave up on spiritualism as well. And um I don't think I have the ability to manifest things in my life out like via thought. Like I feel like if I put effort into something, if I want something, I can get it. Not materialistically, but anything like experience wise or whatever. But there are times when I feel like maybe if I just prayed and believed in something like a religion, that some things wouldn't happen to me. But then I look at the world and I look at other people that are struggling with many things in their life and that are way better people than I am. And I consider myself to be a fairly good person. But people that are better than me and super religious and yet still go through very difficult times. And that's what really gets me away from thinking about like the whole religious perspective. But no matter what, the struggles that I'm going through at the moment are things that are overcomable. Is that a word? Able to be overcome, but it's hard. It's really hard. It's like I've never been in a position where I'm at right now ever in my life. And I like pretty much our family's doing it solo as well because um we really don't like we have support out there, of course. We have family, friends, but and only they know like what we're going through. But ultimately, like none of them are really local outside of like some friends that we have here in Las Vegas, which we have like a good amount of like close friends, but everyone's just so focused on their own issues at the moment. I don't want to involve my problems onto them because everyone's going through a lot of struggles. And so yeah, it's just 2020, man. 2020 has just been an interesting year to say the least. I never foresaw this decade starting this way, to be honest. Never did. But either way, as we get closer to this problem being rectified, maybe there'll be an opportunity for me to talk a little bit more in detail about what it is I want to share. But until then, thank you guys so much for listening to me, and I'll catch all of you guys mañana. Peace.